yesterday, the U.S. made a deal overnight while we were sleeping that they would release Brittney Griner back to U.S. soil if we gave him this man, Victor Bout.
Victor Bout. The
what?
Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death, Trey.
Yeah.
The Merchant of Death, the number one arms dealer in the world, who did most of his reign in terror in the 1990s and 2000s, people.
Right. 14 years ago. Yeah.
He's been in U.S. prison for 14 years.
Exactly.
As much as we got to say about Russian prison, U.S. prison will turn you too. Believe me, he didn't come to prison here talking about he's an arms dealer. Bobo, Jimbo, Big Bo, Lil Wayne, Big Wayne, whoever was in there, they didn't really like that stuff. Don't fly here.
All right. Yeah. So,
like when they say they let the GDs in the door, he found out what that meant when he stepped on U.S. soil. Yeah. This man was in our custody for 14 years. And so Russia says, all right, you want her? Let's make a trade. Now, a lot of y'all play fantasy football. A lot of y'all watch the trade machine. Y'all do all this, you know, some of you trade on Bitcoin. Y'all do a lot of trading. And y'all want to be GMs so bad. Y'all want to be team owners so bad. I saw hundreds of thousands of comments yesterday. Outraged. How could we trade this madman who is dangerous? You guys classified him as dangerous, even though you'll never run into him again.
Right. Like
for a WNBA star who was smoking weed, or weed smoking WNBA star. Like this is what people were saying yesterday.
How could they reduce her to that? That's all she is to y'all? A weed?
I'm telling
you. Somebody call her a drug user.
Drug addict, drug users. Listen,
like,
we can't take nothing serious. I saw somebody put up a picture of Waka Flocka talking about welcome home.
Well, like,
this is the kind of stuff that we have to deal with. Now, I saw several posts saying the U.S. got played. You know, Donald Trump had to chime in on it. Lopsided trade. What kind of the U.S. looks weak, and he's on his way to prison. So that's a whole nother story.
I mean, that's the reason why they took her and gave her that harsh sentence in the first place. This is all a power play. I mean, it's like they take every opportunity they can to make, especially the Biden administration, make them look weak or something like that.
So here,
swallow your ego. You know,
it's a game of chess.
Right.
This is not checkers, people. You guys think, listen, Vladimir Putin, if you haven't been paying attention, he lost the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
He could not defeat Ukraine. The U.S. is supplying Ukraine. The U.S. is supplying Ukraine not only with funds, but weaponry.
All right.
Ammunition. They have flooded their country.
Blew up the bridge.
They blew up the bridge that Vladimir Putin built.
Yeah, he was so proud of this bridge. I can't remember the name of it.
His prized possession. So right now, his heart is hurt.
Yeah.
And hurt people. So this is, if in his mind, getting a 55-year-old man out of jail for Brittney Griner was a win for him, that lets you know the mindset of this man.
Yeah.
But here's my problem. When I see black people online trashing Brittney Griner, and you can call in 773-340-1894. When I see black people online talking about what, that's the trade we made. That's a bad trade. I mean, making jokes like, did the Chicago Bulls make this trade? Did the Lakers make this trade? Who was on the phone? LeBron James. People were up in arms about this trade, and then the black people. I'm talking to our race right now. I'm not even talking to other races right now. Excuse me. You can chime in, but I'm talking to black people right now. Then they had the nerve to say, what's the other guy's name that's there? Waylon? Because I think I remember it because that's the name from The Simpsons. Is it not? Waylon Smithers?
Yeah. Waylon Smithers.
People are actually in their feelings talking about, well, what about the other guy? No, none of y'all knew he was even over there until Brittney Griner was over there.
All right, no.
Don't lie to me. Don't try to act like you were in the history books. Don't try to act like you so woke that you knew this was going on. Right. You're lying. You're lying. You didn't know the other Marines or reporters or prisoners they had over there until Brittney. She shined light on the entire situation for a lot of you.
Yeah, did you hear like the statement from her family? Like when it I was listening to the radio last night, on ESPN. You know how they do sports center overnight. So I'm listening, and then she's like, I'm glad to be home, but there's other people over there that she's still trying to shine light on their situations to get them back. So before she can even touch U.S. soil, y'all are just up in arms about her release, and it's like, why aren't y'all happy that she's back home? I mean, that's the sad part about it. It's like yeah, it's not a good, like, even though this dude is old, and what arms is he gonna be dealing at this point? You know, really.
I mean, people see his picture and they this is what strikes fear in people right here. The Hitler mustache, I get it. Ladies and gentlemen, this man was 38 years old when he went into prison. When you're 38, you have ambition, you have goals, you are still the head of the pack. You're almost at the pinnacle of especially in gangs and different genres of what do I want to call it? Bad stigmas. You're at your high point when you're almost 40. The man was 38 when he went into prison. He's 55. Yeah. Have you guys been around any 55-year-olds lately? Have you guys been around any 55-year-olds that just got out of prison after serving almost 15 years? People, these are not your relatives who go to prison for 1 year or 2 years and come back out and do the same thing they did when they got locked up in the first place. This is a man that also was extradited to a different country with a different language, no plugs, no connections. You think the U.S. doesn't have the intelligence to know anything about you? Do you guys really believe they sat back for 14 years and not collected information from this man? Do you think they actually made a deal with Russia? He might have been turned. I didn't see him being greeted by government officials yesterday. I saw his family. This man is a grandfather.
Yeah.
He's not the death of merchant anymore. He's Papa.
Right. Yeah, like for me the swap was worth it because like everybody like so concerned, like, oh, he's an international arms dealer. Name one other I mean, people act like they so involved in this and like, oh, how could you let this guy back out? No, how could you let her stay in there? That's what I'm more concerned about. Everybody like, oh, how could you let this criminal back out? No, how could you let this American, like, she's an American, she's you know, like, forget all the other accolades. Like, you have a deal on the table, right? And the deal was for her to come over.
Correct.
So they knew they could leverage that.
It was reported that there was no other deal that's going to be made. When somebody tells you to take it or leave it, and you know, this is the problem with a lot of us. We be like, oh, I can't have my way. Well, then I don't want none of it. and then you lose out on everything, because that's what's called arrogance, greed. And so because the United States shows some humility, people are saying it's a sign of weakness. Here we go. Here's a black young man.
He said, "What about the other American?" Well, you what about?
That's what we're talking about, Daryl Young.
Yeah.
And I know Daryl. That's my man's.
All right. Yeah. So,
DY.
So what about the other American?
Let me ask you a question, Daryl, while you're on here. Did you know about the other Americans before Brittney Griner? Did anybody ever make a status, a post saying, hey, Russia, listen, y'all got some detainees over there from America. We would like them released. Were y'all saying free Waylon? And I'm calling him Waylon. You got to make sure that's his name.
Yeah, it's Waylon
Smithers.
W-H-A.
Not Waylon Smithers from Facebook.
W-H-A-L-E-N, right?
I mean, from Simpsons.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so
were we saying free this person, free this person? I'm just gonna be honest. And he said yes, he did.
So how many other Americans are in custody?
And Kenny Matthews says so. So here's my point. You all are uneducated about the entire process of this. You're uneducated about the history of detainees in Russia. You're only educated because Brittney Griner was detained. And it was such a big story nationally that, and she's somebody that we identify with, that now,
he said we're leaving out a lot of details.
Well, of course we're leaving out a lot of details. You know why? Because we want to get to the meat of it. We're not CNN. I'm not reporting the whole story. So here's the thing. If you have a question, a comment, if you have details, present them.
Fill us in.
Because let me tell you something. If you think that serving 9 years over a vape pen in any country in your heart is justifiable, then I have to question your integrity. You guys have to stop putting yourself in a situation as if you have the power to make these decisions. Why don't we trade some of y'all? You go get locked up in Russia and see how much your value is. You go see if you can be traded for an arms dealer or a crayon.
And the thing is, when I know some people say, "What about the other American?" and actually feel sincere, like, "Oh, why isn't he coming home?" But they still have to work. It's not like they just stop negotiations altogether. You know, they're still doing what they can to get. Like, who actually knows what the process is like negotiating with another country over somebody that's in custody? Like that, like none of us really know what it takes, the negotiating, the deals that have to be made, the conversations that have to be made for that swap to even happen. Like, this was a deal that was on the table. So to turn that down and leave her over there, that's so don't think that just because like the stories about the other people over there are not going to be in the light as much unless we shine light on it. So like I said, if we really do care this much about the other people that's over there, then we need to say stuff about it.
So Kenny just said, how many Americans are in jail in America for a few grams of weed? Let me answer that. None. None that I know of, because it's legalized in how many states? Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some, but how many have gotten a 9-year sentence in the year of 2022? Zero. Go pull up your records and let me know, because he said I'm insane.
And the thing is,
now there's a difference, Kenny. Now, if you're talking about somebody that is illegally distributing marijuana, that's apples and oranges. Now, if you're talking about somebody that got on a plane with a blunt, I guarantee you they didn't get 9. I guarantee you they went home the same night.
Probably on a no-fly list, but
I guarantee you. Yes, there's a lot of details that go into this. I'm not getting into the whole drug conversation. This ain't the drug war. What I'm speaking about is humanity and politics. Black people who cannot celebrate anything, they have to find something to complain about.
Yeah.
If they would have released Waylon and not Brittney, what would be the what would the reaction be then?
Right.
If they went on and released people we never heard of, and Brittney was still there, what would be the reaction then?
Yeah.
The whole point was she deserved to be home. Now listen, the arms dealer had a 25-year sentence, okay? He served 14 years. Usually in America, in most states, it's a day for a day, depending on what year you got arrested. So he was arrested around 2006, 2008, something like that. He was convicted, which means, and you can tell me because I see some law enforcement on here. I won't tell you who they are because they might be knocking on your door soon.
What you gonna do?
You tell me. He served over half his prison sentence. The man was going to be released in about 9 years. Can y'all do the math? They gave her a 9-year sentence because he's supposed to be released in 9 years. It was always the playing card for Russia to say, listen, y'all can wait 9 years for her, or we can wait 9 years for him.
Yep. So
I have one quick thing to say. Yeah, just like I know there's a few people in here that said we leaving out some facts. What I want one of y'all to go see is like what is the other guy like? What's his charge? Because that's one thing I don't know a lot about. Do you know like what the Waylon, like what was his arrest and charge actually for? Like, but I hear whatever that charge is, you don't deserve that the time he's getting for it, and he's just being held on.
So here's the thing: it's whatever that charge is, it's a crime in Russia and nowhere else. So basically, they're saying they made up a policy or a law to arrest him. Like it's not even something that exists, basically. But if another country says it does, then it does. Now, DY, you said something important, and I don't want to leave you out. They said, did you see how much they recovered from her? Hate that she was locked up. Now, look, Brittney Griner was absolutely wrong. We are not telling you that she did not commit a crime. What we are telling you, the punishment didn't fit the crime.
Right.
And anybody, no matter what country you're in, who receives a harsh punishment because of politics, skin color, sexuality, there should be some type of fight for either the release of that person or a reduced sentence. Now, the U.S. let her go through the process and their legal system because they wanted to see if Russia was going to be straight up with them. She went to court. She appealed the case. She lost. There were no other options on the table. They exercised every option. So when people say it was a bad trade, I feel like it's insensitive. She hadn't even made it to Texas soil yet. She was still on a flight, and we were tweeting and putting up statuses. This was a dumb trade. If I was president, she'd still be locked up.
See what Michael Parsons said about Biden? You know,
all upset about. I mean, about pretty much the same thing, saying what about the Waylon? He's been over there for years. This looks bad for people who want to join armed forces in America because they're not taking care of them and all of that stuff. And that's, I mean, it's like y'all shine. What I don't understand is that if she didn't get arrested, like would the outrage still be there for everybody else? And like some how they do say everything happened for a reason. Yeah, like this is a bad thing, but from even from what her family is saying before she even got back home, that they're going to shine light themselves on the people who are still over there. She didn't even make it back, and she herself she's already concerned with the Americans still over there. So maybe like if this happened in order for other people to be able to come back home, would you still be saying what you're saying? Because she's not going to stop talking about it.
Right.
So this is a
That's a good point.
Near and dear to her heart, and she's probably going to be fighting for this for the rest of her life.
So I would say that her passion is to advocate for other prisoners that are there.
And you
probably way more than picking up a basketball.
Right.
Now, to us, she's a WNBA star, a basketball player, because that's all we've seen her do. But let me tell you something. 9 months in a Russian prison will change your passion. She is not the same person who went in to that prison. She's not the same person when she came home yesterday.
All the interviews she's going to get, and how she's going to be able to shine light on getting those other Americans home now, who probably would not have, had the all the support now. So I'm not going to say this is I mean, she can turn a bad thing and use it as a good thing to do good. I mean, because like when you've been in a situation, you got out of it. Now you can do what you can to fight for others, and
that's true.
Yeah.
So here's the big thing, and I'm glad Kenny brought this up. He says no argument there. We agree that Brittney has done wrong. I'm glad we agree on that. I think she understands that. I haven't tweeted or said anything on it, but I'm sure he's seen the tweets and the statuses. He says, but the guy that released is an international terrorist. Yes, we understand this. And when did his terror reign? 1990s through the 2000s. Intelligence has grown. A lot of stuff has changed from the 90s. Y'all remember the 90s? We used to have, I don't even know if we had flip phones yet. Probably around 96 when they start having the flip phone, actually. Yeah, I think we had two-way pagers in the 90s.
Yeah, we had the Motorola block phones.
R. Kelly might have been on his third album in the 90s. I don't even think Kirk Franklin and The Reason Why We Sing was out yet. That might have been 93 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So this guy...
My point is, Trey, we are talking as if this man is...
Right. It's
has been reigning terror for the last 10 years or the last decade.
Yeah, has he been manipulating and making moves from inside the American prison system? What kind of connection do you think he had to the outside world while he was in our system?
So, Kenny, let me ask you this. Are we saying this as just being informative? Or are we scared?
I mean,
do we have fear?
Are you saying that she should have stayed? Are you saying that America should have stop saying no, we're not going to take that deal. We'll leave her in there, and who knows how long, before we can get any other type of deal if they could have got one. Are you saying that America should not have made this deal?
Well,
that's the question I have. And I'm sorry I missed the call. It didn't ring.
Oh, you missed the call. Let's see if we can get it back in on the caller.
Yeah, I think it was the same one who asked for the number because the call was at
Okay.
9:43.
Okay, if you tried to call in, just call back quickly. The number is right here on the bottom of the screen, 773-340-1894. I wish I can get Kenny on the show to hear his thoughts. I got a link. I can send it to him.
Oh, you been get him on? Okay.
Yeah, he has he has a video set up and all his
you got the video set up? Yeah, we can bring you in.
Yeah, Kenny is
in on the action.
He's pretty legit. He has
Oh, he said send it. All right.
Yeah, he's pretty legit. He has a good quality video and sound. Kenny, inbox me your email address. Let's do it like that.
Right, yeah.
Anyway,
don't forget to like and share. Like and share. Everybody that comes in, say good morning, comment, say something. Everybody speak, don't be shy. We'll definitely give you all a shout out once you do. But definitely like and share Frey and Trey today.
Listen, so here's my big thing. And I'm getting ready to plug Kenny in. Going into 2023, I have this is a big thing for me about what kind of energy I'm bringing into the next year. Okay. So what I saw yesterday was a complete clownism. Complete clownism. We have to stop finding the negative in everything and finding what to criticize about instead of being able to celebrate and praise. I was so happy finding out that Brittney Griner was safe. I mean, this girl went through some crap, man, some stuff. Yeah. If you ever been to jail before, you know jail is hell. But in another country where you don't know anyone, nobody likes you, you're a target, you're a pawn. Then you're in a concentration camp that nobody knows your whereabouts, and God knows what happened. She could have committed suicide at any moment. She could have given up. I'm sure they left the rope in her cell. We don't care. The fight she had to have mentally to even sustain, to be alive today, to even see the day where she would be freed. She was just saying a month ago, she seems like she has no hope that her life is completely over.
Right. Man, to
be home today, and before she could even step foot on U.S. soil.
How do you think that would make her feel?
We got people complaining and having an outrage, talking about, nah, this ain't right. Send her back. That's not a fair trade.
It's people out right now who have committed crimes that are informants and free on those terms, versus I mean it's all types of, like, if you want to, like, I know it's an apples and oranges comparison, but it's so much more for you to be outraged about than be upset with her return. That's the part that's baffling to me. Like, I don't know if y'all are, I'm not, talking about anybody in particular, but it's just so much that you're seeing. Like what do y'all mean? Like y'all not happy for her being back? Like that's the I don't know.
I'm confused because it's weird to me that, I mean, jokes are jokes. I get it. I'm a comedian, but it wasn't jokes. It was people's real feelings. They were outraged,
right,
about who we got this person home from. Let's remove the WNBA. Let's remove the status of what she is. Let's remove all of that. Let's just say she's a black young woman from the U.S., does that change the dynamic? Because if it was my daughter, I trade everything I have for her. If this was your cousin, your niece, your relative, you're not thinking twice about some 55-year-old man who has to get his prostate checked and fill out an AARP card form. The man probably has arthritis. Who knows if he can even cock a gun?
All right, it's a arms issue we dealing with in America. Like, you worry about international arms? Like, we live in Chicago. Let's fight against the guns being sold right here. I mean, I don't know. It's I said, to be upset over her return. I don't. That's the part I'm not. I'm like, for that to be the first thing people say, oh, Brittney Griner free. Oh, what for the terror? What that like? Where does that energy even come from? How could that be the first thing that come to your mind when you hear that story? Yeah. Well,
so we are up in arms about an arms dealer. How about that? We are all up in arms about an arms dealer. And I just invited Kenny. He's gonna be coming in 1 second. People, we have more comments. I'm not giving up the Merchant of Death for a ball player. That's the sentiment. That's the outrage. That's what people have minimized her to. Because we only see what people do and not who they are. Right? I'm just a comedian. But you don't know me the other 23 hours of the day. You just know me for that hour show, right? You're just a DJ, right? Right, Trey?
Yeah.
They don't know that you're a father.
I think that's the call. We got a call coming in.
All right, let's get the call and then we're gonna plug Kenny in.
All right.
Trey's the type that let the phone ring on you.
Brother.
He checking the caller ID. Good morning. Good morning. Who do we have on the line, man?
This is the one and only Marcus J. Austin, aka M. Dot, calling in this morning.
What's going on?
How you brothers doing, man? Y'all sounding great on the radio internet waves this morning.
All right, appreciate that.
Sir, this is a professional podcast. There is no wave, no.
I know, but
we are streaming live for several social media outlets, including YouTube, where you can see it later. How you doing, Marcus? What's your comment? What's your question, man? I'm sure you're plugged in to talk about Brittney Griner, man. What's your sentiment? How you feel, man?
So there are three sentiments. The first sentiment is we are so distracted by the news of Brittney Griner and even other news outside of her that we don't realize when we point the finger at the mirror, what does the mirror do? It points directly back at us. America as a country have been doing this for years, as well as being a terrorist to slavery or through slavery and other measures. So this is nothing new. And so I don't understand why people are so alerted to understanding international relations. Now, here's the question that I have for you guys, and maybe you can do a survey on this. For all of the people that's calling up that have such a big issue with the exchange and what's going on with international relations in this case, I want you to ask them 8 questions. The first question is, when was the last time you actually talked locally to your alderman, city councilman? When was the last time you went to your state representative or state senator and supported legislation? When was the last time you organize the meeting with your CPA board or your school board, which is responsible for your child's education. When was the last time you actually, after the lobbyist, was a part of an advisory board to see how laws were being implemented and what you were lobbying? See, the reason why I'm asking all these questions is going back to that mirror comment. We talk so much about what we don't have control over, but the stuff that we do have control over, can't nobody see us. And the only thing we want to do is talk and complain instead of being the change we want to see. So that being stated the case, Brother Jeremiah.
Okay.
What I'm stating is I'm focused on the solution. And so if anybody and everybody that's listening that are attached to me know there are 3 things that I am solving instead of talking about the problem, being a solution to it. Number 1, ending homelessness. Number 2, ending childhood food insecurity. And number 3, resolving the education gap. Now, why is this important in this Brittney Griner situation? People don't become terrorists all of a sudden when they wake up in the morning and say, I want to kill a bunch of people. You know how people become terrorists, Brother Jeremiah?
No,
they're
recruited.
And by fear. They are inspired by lack, and they don't think that there is another pathway for their sustainability to be achieved.
Now, Marcus has studied this.
In a different environment.
Now, Marcus has studied this for our public audience.
Talking about it.
Hold on one second, Marcus. So let me plug you in. Marcus has studied this. He's a big, has a passion for current affairs, social affairs, political affairs, and he also has a bachelor's degree. He graduated from Rutgers University. So you're talking to somebody that has had an exchange with different races, communities, cultures. And as I see Kenny coming in, I'm gonna plug him in 1 minute. And so someone said, Marcus, I'm gonna ask you that. He said, to be honest, I'm glad she's free, but I'm not gonna act like the exchange was just for Brittney. I need Harvey elaborate on that. And then somebody says it could have been a LeBron James. It would have been a no.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a no. So are we so uneducated or need to be educated, or do we live so much in fear that we're worried about just one person who has been titled, named, even a movie was portrayed about him? Is this like equivalent to releasing Osama bin Laden? Is this equivalent to, because Larry Hoover's still locked up and people have questions. Like, who's he? What I've heard this over the years.
Right.
What is Larry Hoover going to do? He's 70. Who's he going to recruit?
Right. Exactly.
So it is a two-way street. It's like the U.S. not worried about, but they are definitely worried about Larry Hoover.
Right. Exactly. And so here's the problem. When our dear brother, Dr. Martin Luther King, was alive, he was talking to the president, I believe it was President Johnson at the time, and he stated, Mr. President, we have all of this evidence as to the reason why slavery and the civil rights movement and the things that we're pushing for need to be resolved immediately. You know what the president told Dr. Martin Luther King?
No.
He said, make me do it.
Make me do it.
America, as well as anybody else around the world, respond by power, organization, and force. And so people are complaining about, oh, well, why don't we have this and why don't we have that? The reason why you don't have what you want to have is because you're not willing to give your life for it. Number 2, you're not willing to organize, and you're not willing to apply pressure. And so if we understand that, then the reason why Mr. Hoover's not released is because there's not enough organization, there's not enough pressure for elected officials to move. And when they get that pressure, because they know they can't get the vote and get the money, trust and believe they'll change overnight.
Marcus, I want to thank you, man, for calling in, for telling me that. Listen, I want you to call in Monday because we need
Love
to have.
you guys, man.
Listen, I want you to call in Monday. I'm gonna try to get you in a show guest. I'll send you the link because we need to have a whole conversation about that. Thanks for calling in. I gotta bring in Kenny Matthews. Thank you. Listen, he said something very important. Kanye West didn't do enough. They didn't let the GDs out the door. But get in the door. They didn't let the GDs out the door. Larry Hoover is still in prison over fear, but Victor Bout is out. How about that? Kenny Matthews, welcome to the Frey and Trey show, man.
What's up?
Trey, what's up, man? We got Now listen, Kenny has his own podcast, his own setup, his own system. He's a brilliant young man who has a lot going on. He's very intelligent. He has his own talk shows, podcast. He got his own video equipment. He got all the equipment. I don't think he rented out either.
Nah. So actually, I'm in Chicago right now. I'm not even at home, so that's why it was like I'm all over the place.
Give him some hand claps. He is in Chicago, where we are. We're all in Chicago. Welcome home, man. Welcome home. So, Kenny, man, look, you had a lot to say, man. You said we're missing a lot of details. We're missing a lot of things going on with Brittney Griner. You have agreed that she did do a crime. You are happy that she's home. But, Kenny, what is the problem? What's going on?
Yeah, so I think the details that was missing was the who, the what, the why. All right, so Brittney, of course, I'm totally 100% in agreement with that. You will not get a rise, no argument. I will not disagree on no terms that she did not deserve and does not deserve to be in Russia serving time for a vape pen for whatever reason. And I also agree with y'all when y'all say that her family deserves her to be home. They need to know where she was. They need to know what was going on with her. And I believe that Russia was playing hardball. But my question would be, why, if I could ask y'all a question, why did they want him? They was no other deals. We'll make any other deals. So I think the part that I had a problem with was for you to say that this guy 55 years old. He's no threat to nobody. Why was the only deals that America could have made possible to Russia? Why was he so important? Also, remember, we're in the middle of, I hate saying that because we're in the middle of a war that's not even really America's war. We're fighting with our allies.
You're referring to Ukraine and Russia?
Ukraine and Russia. You know, first of all, and I want y'all to make this make sense. Biden is sending billions and billions of dollars to help fund this war.
Yes, he is.
That America still don't have all the details to why is he keep coming back to Congress and asking them. He keep going back to them and saying, hey, yo, we need to send over, we almost $50 billion in. Okay. Now.
No.
I'm not saying any.
Oh, yes, you're right. Billion. I was making sure you put a B on that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Billion. We're $50 billion into a war that's not on American soil, and that we are helping our allies. And I get that America, they are allies. I get that. And I get that. But why are we going so hard for a war that's not directly coming to our, bringing trouble to our home front?
So
okay. My last question.
Let me answer that before you get to your last one. So here's the thing about U.S. and their allies. The U.S., one of the biggest reasonings for having allies and helping allies is they are big on democracy. Anyone that is against democracy, that is trying to destroy democracy, the U.S. and the United Nations as a whole, they will aid you, help you to withstand your ground. And so Vladimir Putin, he just decided, man, it's time for me to take over Ukraine. I'm a blow them up. This little small, whatever. I'm a bully them, and he was unsuccessful. Let's put that out there on the table. They have withdrawn.
But you also you also mentioning Biden ties with the Ukraine. You're not mentioning what Biden. you're not mentioning the investment that Biden has in Ukraine. So
well,
I'm very aware, and I don't,
is it Biden's
personal,
investment, or is it America's?
personal. No. I said who I said. I said what I said and who I said and what I'm standing.
Now let me ask you this.
I think.
So, do you think it's a personal investment because Trump has a personal investment in Vladimir Putin? Do you think this is
absolutely
politics? Okay,
absolutely. This is 100. This is 100% politics. Also, let's go back to Iraq, right? Let's go back to the Bush administration. We do know what that we know what that whole war was about, and we also know that 9/11 was not a happenstance thing. We knew that they was well aware that that was about to happen. We also knew that Bush made no moves on Bin Laden. We know that this is not these are not like these great scientific, this didn't just come up like a sinkhole. This real stuff. And so I think what happens is this. Of course, I'm not talking. I take away all like animosity that people are giving towards Brittney Griner because for whatever reason. But the thing is this: entertainers mean more to Americans than terrorists. And I'm not saying she don't deserve to be home. I'm not saying we couldn't make no other deals, but I'm telling you that the only deal that he wanted to,
Oh no!
He's still there, so I don't know if he just turned his own video off.
Yeah, I think he had
good points.
I think Biden called him. You're a little muted.
Oh, hold on. My AirPods went out. Hold on.
I was like, did Biden just call you, bro?
Man, listen. Hey, when you start talking crazy, it get weird. Hold on. I lost my AirPods, so let me just turn it up so I can hear. But I think it's strange that was the only deal that they would make. She deserved to be home. So no argument there. She did not. That was totally unjust that she had to do 9 or 10 years, 9 years for some weed.
So
the whole optics of it.
What's been reported is
hold on, because I can't hear y'all. I hear y'all, but I can't hear y'all.
Okay, plug your earpods in.
Man, it's crazy. They don't want me. Hey, you can't start talking politics, man. Look, America go crazy. Hold on.
When you said that Biden, here I'm gonna mute him.
Let me see if I can get
straight. Until he was talking about Biden and his special interest in Ukraine, everything went well. And he just went haywire, man. This is what Kanye West be talking about right here, man. They want.
Kanye ain't crazy.
You don't talk about Ukraine, Biden, or the Jews. Some stuff is gonna just go haywire.
Say I can say what I want about Ukraine, and nobody. Say what I want about Biden, but he brought up some good points. Like, and the optics of it is like they wanted to do as much as they could to make America look as weak as possible.
Correct.
Yeah. So,
but that's okay because looking weak and being weak is two different things. People, that's what I need you guys to understand.
Good point.
We have underestimated a lot of people. This is why a lot of y'all lose in sports betting. Because you don't believe in the underdog. You parlay every team that's the plus, that's the minus that night. You go for every team that looks like the juggernaut. They cannot lose. And every time it goes the other way. Yeah. Because we underestimate people. We underestimate a lot. You can look weak and yet be the strongest person in the room. This is happening more of the on the surface of sports. Look at Russia and Ukraine now. Russia underestimated them. They did not know. They did not know.
Ukraine had a lot of fight in them.
Man. Big things come in small packages. They like that storefront church. We small in number, but we got a lot of power. Harvey Williams said, "Hey Jeremiah, I may have missed it, but why do you feel like he's not a threat?" Trey, you want to answer that? We went over that.
Yeah, all right. We feel like it was more of
and before you do, it's good because it's optics, and hopefully Kenny can jump back in because I do want to get into
definitely
why Larry Hoover is seemingly a threat and Victor Bout is not.
Yeah, all right. So, like, I think it was more of an optic, like, power play, make America look weak type of thing, and just his whole reputation of who he used to be makes it look bad than what he can do. It's almost like he's signing a player before his after his prime. Like, yeah, who he used to be was a big deal, but like who he's going to be for you in the future is not really going to pan out for you. And the optics look good at the time. So it's like, yeah, this dude was the merchant of death. He's been incarcerated for 14 years. Like, what death has he been a merchant of over the? I mean, that's who he used to be.
And I think Kenny is back on. Let me put him back in. You all good now, Ken?
All right, we got you back.
Hey, man, you start talking crazy, man. They like.
I'm telling the people, Larry Hoover is in, Victor Bout is out. I mean, I don't want to totally change the conversation, but it is something to think about because if we're talking about why we're letting an arms dealer go, somebody who is deemed the merchant of death or one of the most dangerous men in international history, just not national, international.
Right. He's
55, Larry Hoover's 70. The U.S. has come out and said he still has such he's so impressionable that he could still form and influence the gangster disciples.
All right, just the fact that he's out.
But they might not have said it out publicly, but I can tell you behind closed doors, they feel like Victor Bout is less of a threat. Yes, he's seemingly dangerous and he has all these accolades and all of this, but he's less of a threat right now because Kenny, once you lose your job, you could be number one for however long. There's always a number two. This is not the back in the day, and you can disagree with me. This is not back in the day, bro, where people were holding your spots for you. This new generation is full of greed. They full of power. There are so many people that are disloyal. I can tell you right now, if El Chapo served 10 years and come out, I don't know if he's gonna be able to be numero uno.
No, that's a different.
So you took the words out of my mouth. Let El Chapo go then. I was finna say that. Let El Chapo go. Here's the thing. You got to think about power and influence, and we talking about power. They didn't just make a movie about this man just because he was just some regular. He was a multi-trillion-dollar moving guy. Influence is there, and listen. Let me tell you something. I got a cousin who is incarcerated right now, and my cousin told me about all of the moves that he made while he's in jail right now. Man, I'm buying cars. I got all. Nigga, how the hell you doing that? How you buying cars and you in jail? How? Yeah, man, I just got this. I'm taking care of this. So you can't say. And here's the thing: I've never been incarcerated, so I can't speak on it. But I'm telling you, when you got that type of, he's a terrorist. We're not talking about a basketball player. And I'm not. Forget Brittney. Forget her. We're not talking about an entertainer. We talking about somebody who had. You had to bring him back here. You had to extradite him back here because you felt that he was that much of a threat. So you don't think that he had an army in place.
Your outrage is more about Victor Bout being released rather than Brittney coming home.
Yeah, I listen. She needs to be home.
Even
and I'm happy for Christmas.
Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think the U.S. should have waited? Do you think they should have just said, to Russia, listen, we're not releasing this man. Come up with another deal, which they prominently had for months. So do you think they should have kept playing the waiting game? They kept stalling. They kept. I mean, how worse did you think it could have gotten for Brittney, or the story could have got? Because let me tell you something, Kenny, and you're absolutely right about Biden. Election year is up on us. Do you think if Brittney Griner would have committed suicide, or they would have told you that she did, and they did something to her for her to lose her life or something fatal, do you think that Joe Biden would ever be able to recover from that?
First of all, Joe Biden probably won't ever be president again. Let's just be clear. You got to think about his voting numbers are so low right now. Like, people, be honest, the Democrats don't even want him again. No American really want Biden. We don't really want Biden.
We said it on our last show that we are not happy about the job that Biden was doing. We said it on the last Fred and Trey show. We did.
I was like, who's going to run though?
But since that show, the gas prices have went down. Brittney Griner has been released. Ukraine has flipped the script. Other things are happening. He's signing. He's signing bills for legalizing marriage.
No. But see what I'm saying is nobody cares about none of that, bro.
Well, I'm not gonna say nobody cares about it, but as a Black community, is that a strong point for us?
No,
probably not. Probably
no.
not. Has he done enough in my mind for me to ever vote for him again? No. But
no.
Here are the optics with politics.
Yeah, see what I want.
When you have a guy on the other side that's under criminal investigation, and the Justice Department yesterday just came out and recommended for him to be held in contempt of court and have indictments against his whole team, because when the feds after you, let me tell you, they are going to make sure they get you in a way where you cannot get out. They want him in contempt of court to catch him in a lie, so when they finally indict him, he can't get out of it. When these are your two options, we understand America's in bad shape. And that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. And that's probably the one thing I agree with Kanye West about all the craziness he's been saying. It might be the one thing. I don't agree about him running for president, but I do believe that there needs to be another party or something else in place for us to have some better representation.
Out altogether. I hate the whole party system.
We need a better representation altogether. Now, all I'm saying was, if Joe Biden allowed something to happen with Brittney Griner, the Republicans would have ate that up, because Trump would have been like, I could talk to Putin today. I could have had her out today. I could have had her out in hours. Millions and millions of people know hours. It would have been 9 years, 9 months. It would have been 9 minutes. I would have had her out in 9 minutes. That's how he act.
Right.
So you got to see both sides of the table.
No, I don't see both sides of the table, because at the end of the day, like I said, I think she was done wrong anyway. But here's the thing. Now, again, I made no tweets. I made no comments really about because I really felt bad for her. I'm like, dang, bro, she over there. They finna try to put her, but they was using her as a pawn. And the thing is that what we know about chess is this: you get this stuff out the way to get what you want. And they wanted this man. He was not a pawn.
He
was the queen then on the. He wasn't a pawn. He was the queen. And so what happens is this. Let me tell you what's gonna happen. In 3 to 5 years, Brittney, absolutely, in the game of chess. And
I think he was.
The next 5 years,
I think he was more of a bishop. I think he used to be a queen. I think he's been.
He's a queen.
I think he's been diluted to a bishop, because
he's
at the age of 55.
You got to think about who is he to them, though? Who is he to them? He was a Russian armed. He was there. He was the one who. Hey, hold on. Let's be clear. Russia is the ones at war, right? He was not just selling. He wasn't just selling handguns and rifles. He was dealing with aircrafts. He was dealing
Oh,
with so
Oh yeah.
he wasn't dealing with he wasn't just guns and stuff. You got to think about it. So that's
do
why I
you
said it's
do you
details to
believe
that.
that? Do you believe that he has? Do you believe that he has ready-made connections right now to just dive right back
Absolutely.
into? Okay.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Fresh off the plane, he going straight to work. That's why they need him. You have to think about it. There was a reason why they needed this man. Brittney Griner really could have got less. Listen, that was a power play, and people. I understand. I understand when you talk about the ignorance of like people just saying Brittney, oh F Brittney, F Brittney. I'm not saying F Brittney. I'm saying there had to been something. There has to been a better way for us to have dealt with the situation with Brittney, because then you still got to go back to how Americans treat Americans when it comes down to the same type of stuff. If I get pulled over with a gram of weed, if I get pulled over with something that's illegal in America, anything. If I get pulled over, watch this. If I get pulled over with a handgun in America, in Chicago right now, it's 10 years per bullet.
So we're being naive. So some people that's not outrage and are saying we don't care about who this guy is. Can you label that as being naive because you're saying y'all don't understand what y'all just did? Like this, I understand this ain't what's the game they play, Grand Theft Auto 4 and the other game. Like this ain't none of that. This is real life. Like y'all
it's
and
gonna
I
be
did
crazy.
see, and I did read that he did plot to kill Americans. And so
he was a whole terrorist.
As somebody who is are we just too naive in forgiving people and thinking that people change? Because I know a lot of 55-year-olds today that when they were 20 and 30, bruh, ruthless.
Bro, you don't know 55-year-old terrorists. You don't know a 55-year-old terrorist.
I don't know 55-year-old terrorist.
All right.
Does he still label his
and here's another thing. We still label him as a terrorist. That's why we went. What happened to Americans? We not negotiate with terrorists. That's an American. Hey, that's one of our laws. That's one of our rules. That's the art of war for us. We don't. That's why you think we don't have. Why you think we don't have our spy, our Marine, a Marine. This is a veteran to the United States military, and he's still sitting over there. He's gonna serve however much time because he's not as valuable. But let me tell you, when you get all of the celebrities and you get the billionaires of the United States going to the White House saying, y'all got to do something now. Y'all got to do something right now. We got to get her back home because this ain't right. Then you look at him, you like, he said, then here go Putin over there sitting there. He like, oh, they want her back. Let's go ahead and throw the book at her. Let's go ahead.
So we showed our card. I think
if it wouldn't have got as much media attention as it did, because think about it, it was on CNN, NBC, CBS for 10 months or since February. So what? Yeah, almost 10 months, right?
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that there's a lot of people that think it wasn't enough, like showing.
That's how media work.
Right. Do you remember at the beginning, Kenny and Trey, when the story came out that the news channels were saying, people are saying, let's not get outrageous, let's not go crazy, let's just keep a calm. The White House is asking that we just let them do their backdoor negotiations
because they knew. They said once you
CNN is on in other countries, by the way. If you've never traveled, never been, don't have your passport, CNN is on in every country.
Yeah.
Not only is CNN, but y'all got to know. I think a lot of people miss who the Russians are to the tech world. Period. Why do you think that they were so outraged about the elections being rigged by the Russians? Talk to me nice, y'all. Come on, I'm a guest on y'all show. These Russians ain't stupid. So when they saw the media, and let me tell you the worst media. Let me tell y'all the worst media that got a hold of it. they got social media, which is the biggest form of media right now. You got LeBron James tweeting about it. You got people saying if that was LeBron over there, it wouldn't have never happened. And then you also got to think about it. Now let's play this card. First of all, before I say this, because I know this is a unforbidden rule. I love the LGBTQRS plus community. No shade to them. But when you get them behind anything, because y'all talked about being organized and unified, that to me is the one of the communities that we have in America that's super unified. And organized. You get them, man. You get them on it.
They will cancel you, cultivate you. They can make you or break you. Is what I
didn't say. So I said nothing. I said nothing bad about them. I got nothing bad to say about them. Love who you love, like who you like, and screw who you screw.
And about the cause and stuff, be so organized and diligent, man. You ain't saying nothing bad about them. They gonna fight and get what they want. You know that's
so Kenny. You're
and that's the reality.
That you're telling me that the free Brittney Griner movement actually messed up the entire deal, because that was a movement. Remember the shirts, the NBA shirts, the commercials. They were doing moments of silence. Like, this was highly publicized.
I'm saying the media, the overpublication in the media, because whenever you're saying it's not getting enough, it's actually that's as bad as saying it's getting a lot. Because you outraged about something totally different now.
You also remember that the Olympics, there were players that said that they are not going to play on Russian land or play against Russian opponents. Some Russians were banned from the Olympics. So it's like all that momentum over the 9 months, it was at a peak, man. Like, this is
the biggest influencers. Yeah, the biggest influencers in America. The biggest influence in America was screaming "Free Brittney Griner," which was bringing attention to people.